everyone, welcome to my show. Be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch for all my exclusive content. Alright, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 100, baby! Woo! Fireworks, way! Streamers, woo! All that other fun stuff. I am Chris Goglin, your host for this evening, and for the last 100 evenings. Very excited about this milestone. Certainly never thought that, I guess I thought I'd kind of get this far. I did, but, you know, now that the moment's actually here, you look back on it and you're like, wow, did I really... I mean, I've done 100 of these shows, and, you know, just very excited about the whole thing. You know, I didn't want to do one of those, like, you know, slideshows that you see, like, you know, through the years, or that you see at, like, you know, high school reunions, or, you know, that TV sitcoms like to do all the time when they hit their 100th episode, where they don't write anything new. They just sit around and just reminisce about stuff they already did for the last 99 episodes, and show you some of their, like, best clip moments. I didn't want to do one of those clip shows. As fun as those are, we all enjoy them, right? Obviously, they wouldn't keep making them. It's certainly a cheap way out. No, I figured we'd talk very briefly about, you know, how the show started and how it got to where we are, and then we'll just do what we do, because that's why you guys are really here, right? You want to learn some Star Wars stuff. You did hopefully get to see at the beginning intro this wonderful little commemorative award that the Players Committee sent me. Thank you very much to the Players Committee and the marketing team and the marketing advocate, Jared Napolitano, who you might have seen on Holo Theater last week with the other advocates, for this wonderful award. Very appreciative of that, and you know, a good way to cement that 100th episode. That's just the ones that aren't in the box in the garage. So, yeah, no, I definitely do need a bigger table, and need to clean this up and kind of organize it better for sure. But yes, you know, very appreciative of that. Thanks to all those guys for getting out. Thanks to James Martin for all the plugging he's been doing for the show for the last week or two on, you know, Slack and the PC forums, and a lot on Twitter. So hopefully, very much appreciative of all that, and hopefully we, you know, get some more people filtering in through the show this evening. Maybe some people who have never been here before. Maybe episode number 100 will be their first time. We've seen that in the last couple of shows I've done, where people are like, oh, this game still exists? I played this game when I was a kid. And it's like, we've been here for 98 shows and you're just finding us? I love it. Tell your friends. Let's find more people out there who still have their cards, or remember how to play, or remember vaguely enjoying playing the game when they were 17. Or 23, or 9, or whatever you were when you first learned how to play this game. Come on back. Come back to the game you love. Come back to the game that casts a shadow over every card game you've ever played since. That just quite haven't lived up to the same expectations that Star Wars set for you. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. You know, when I started this show, it was originally just a podcast, and, you know, I talked a little about this, speaking of podcasts, on Corin's podcast when he interviewed me recently, and we kind of talked about the build up to episode 100. That was a good time as well. Again, I do apologize for the pen clicking. I'm putting the pen in the drawer because, yeah, it got a little bit away from me for a little bit. Sometimes I get a little hesitant and nervous talking about myself. I mean, you know, we all have egos and whatnot. We all like fluffing ourselves up and saying good things about ourselves, but sometimes it feels a little awkward, and, you know, you get a little nervous tick going, and I was a little happy-go-lucky with the pen when we were really starting to get into the interview and get rolling. So otherwise, it was a great time, and the audio quality is pretty great. Thank you to Kendall for putting all that together and getting that out. Kendall's got some more content coming up soon that we're going to talk a little bit about with this whole May the 4th thing we've got coming up, because today's May the 3rd. What's tomorrow? May the 4th be with you. It's the 4th. We're going to talk about the MPC. We're going to talk about the OCS. This Death Star 2 premiere, Death Star 2 retro event that's almost done with the initial phase. And then we're going to jump into a game review. I have a game link that was sent to me, much like how this show started 100 episodes ago, nearly just over 3.5 years ago. 3 years ago. It was March of 2018 was the first episode I think I recorded. Um, all back then, we didn't do Twitch. The game, I recorded stuff. I went right to YouTube. I didn't even have a camera then. I think I was using like a weird like stand microphone or just like talking into my speaker or something. I didn't even have a headset or anything going on. Um, so the technology has certainly evolved. The show has evolved. I have graphics at the beginning now. Thanks to Brandon Beatty for putting that together for me somewhere in the mid 50s. Ryan Serson was keeping a spreadsheet of like all the links so people could see what episode, what decks were looked at. So if you're looking to see like, I want to learn how to play Hunt Down, it's like, well, Gogolin covered it in episode 73, and you could just click the link on the spreadsheet, it would take you right to YouTube, and you could kind of get an idea of how to play Hunt Down or something like that. I haven't checked that list lately. I don't know if it's still up to date or not. Hopefully Ryan's been keeping up on that. It is up to date. Awesome, Ryan. Thank you very much for continuing to do that. And thanks to everybody for being here. We definitely great to have. Had to do some catching up for 100. Okay, well, I appreciate you putting in the time to get it done. And thanks to everybody for coming in and showing up. Chris Kelly never gets nervous when talking about how great he is. Truth, just ask him. He'll tell you. So let's start with what just happened. The Match Play Championship. We just held our 15th MPC Championship, MPC, Match Play Championship event. That is our NCAA style tournament, 64-person bracket. We haven't always had 64 people over the years. First year, I think we had like 30 in a basement, in a slightly damp basement of a very strange store in Philadelphia. It was called the Garden of Earthly Delight. It was mostly like bonsai trees and little fountains and things, that really make like a Zen garden in your house kind of stuff. But they had a basement that had some folding tables in space, and Greg and Bill somehow found it. We parked, half a block away and walked to it because it was actually in Philadelphia, in like a residential neighborhood kind of. So we're parking in front of like people's brownstones and whatnot, and just walking down the street to the cart to the shop, and then going down into the basement to play, and to see how far we've come from there to various hotels we've used over the years, and these last 2 years, unfortunately, to online is awesome. But we had plenty of streaming coverage, we were able to play online. The downside, of course, not playing in person. The plus side, of course, is we can stream like a lot more games than we normally could, instead of having one featured match each round, or possibly having a second camera and doing like a second stream, as we've done in one or two other events, where we've had multiple streams going. Hasn't always been the easiest because of upload speeds at the hotel and things like that with the second stream. But when we're playing online and we're playing these massive events at the same time, we have commentators doing 2, 3, 4 games in a row. We get that multi-Twitch channel, which is awesome. I got to stream a game. I got to stream Scott's game, actually, on Saturday morning of the MPC, and that's uploaded to YouTube already, along with all the rest of them. All the other streamers have already uploaded their videos, and Jared's been putting them all over on YouTube, so you can watch everything from the round to 64 to 32 to 16 to 8. That was all weekend 1. Last weekend was the final 4. Congrats to Joe Olson on interrupting his vacation in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, to use the hotel's Wi-Fi and his laptop to play a couple games of Star Wars, and squeak out a very narrow win against me in the semifinals, and then move on to the finals and defeat Jared Napolitano again. Said Jared Napolitano, the same marketing advocate, the same guy we were just talking about, in the finals. Jared beat Chris Swerfs in his side of the bracket to advance, and Joe defeated me and then moved on to face Jared in the finals. So congrats to Joe on winning his second MPC. Uh, the first time he won, Kevin Shannon quit and has never played a game of Star Wars since. So I don't plan on quitting. Hopefully Jared doesn't either. And we'll see everybody back next year in person in New Brunswick, New Jersey, uh, for an epic 64-person bracket yet again. Deck lists have also already been posted for that event. Thanks to Adam for putting all those up so quick. I'm sure we'll get all the actual lists typed up and moved to the homepage so they're easier to find, but the GEMP files are right there. I know I found it very useful having the GEMP files when I was looking for decks and stuff to play test against or to play with for this weekend. It was like, all right, well, I need a Diplo deck, and it was like, well, who played Diplo? All right, well, those guys played Diplo. Let's see what they got and plug it in, and there it was. And you don't have to figure out and go find each card. You just import the whole list. Bam, here's the whole deck right in front of you. It also helps, and it's kind of cool too, to see what AIs and foils and stuff people have, because it loads their list exactly the way they put it. So if they have in their My Cards in the deck builder, if you go into My Cards and you look at all the cards that they have and things like that, any cards that they might have, I don't think there's a way to sort by alternate image. You can sort by different rarities and stuff like that, but we'll just say, for example, I think Ray is one. I don't have Ray. I don't have the alternate image array, but what I do have is Grievous, if I could spell that right. I have the AI version of Grievous. If I put this in my deck and you copy my deck list and upload it into GEMP, it will show up with this version of the image for you, even if you don't have it. When you go to play the actual game, it will change it to the card you do have unlocked. But it's cool just to see, what other types of AIs and stuff like that people have pulled in their lists. So, other handy little fun things that you can do in the My Cards format. You can buy some foils and things like that. Those are things we've covered over these 100 episodes. How to make foil cards. That's an episode. Or at least that's a big selling point of an episode. Or a video that I've done over the years. Yeah, it was March 2018 that I think I did the first one, because it coincided with the first OCS. The first month of the OCS was February. Everybody played. It was free. We gave the tournament away. A lot of people played. There were a number of people. There were a handful of people who went 0-12 or like 1-11. And I just kind of put a general post out there, like, if you did not have a successful event and just wanted some feedback on your gameplay and ways you can improve, because I was trying to keep people engaged. You go 0-12 in a tournament, it's easy to get discouraged and to be like, all right, maybe I shouldn't be playing this. But if you can take away some key things from that and you can learn and adapt your playing style and figure out some of the things you did wrong or some different avenues that you could have pursued, you're more likely to come back and try those the next month. And some people did, and their schedule improved. As we saw people who went 0-12, and then next month they were like 2-10, and then they were 4-8, and then they were like 5-7, and it's like, all right, you're almost to 500. Like, keep building on this. I know my teammate CRG told me when he returned to the game, one of the first things he looked at was this game review series, and he was like, all right, let me look and see how to play some of these decks, and let me look and see these little things and ways I can clean up my game. And now, he was in the finals 4 of the GEM PC that was just held not too long ago as well. So it's nice to see it all kind of come full circle and see people who have taken that knowledge and those tools that I've passed on and had success with it. It warms my heart a little bit, to be honest, to see that people watched and enjoyed the show, and it's improved their playing experience, hopefully. So. Cost of GEMP foils is too high. If you try filtering by virtual in My Cards, it can help you find the AIs. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. You can thin it down, just the virtual cards, and then scan from there. Okay. So that was the MPC. Moving on to what's coming up now in the future. We're still working on U.S. Nationals. We have tentative dates in the middle of July. There is just some debate still, and we're still kind of playing a wait and see to see what's going on here um, in terms of in-person gatherings and things like that. I believe I just heard this today that in a couple weeks, my home state of New Jersey is actually removing the restrictions that they've placed on occupancy requirements for in-person events, or not necessarily events, but capacity restrictions. So like restaurants could only be like 25% full, and then a couple months ago they moved it to like 50% maximum occupancy. They are getting rid of that later this month, so restaurants can be 100% full again. Same thing for like gyms and all kinds of other shopping stores and that kind of stuff. So we're seeing everything go back to the way it should have been a while ago. Well, it's a different rant, different topic, but we're getting there, and we don't know what Colorado's going to do, which is the area we're looking at for U.S. Nationals, what their timeline is going to be to open things up. So we're kind of going to play wait and see here for another couple of weeks, and just see whether we can host this event the way we want it to, what travel restrictions may be involved, and whether that would be prohibitive for too many people to attend the tournament. And we'll play it online again. But ideally, we will be able to play it in person, and we'll get to have everybody travel to an event for the first time in 18 months, approximately. Get to see everybody face to face and play some cards. All play horribly because we're so used to playing everything online, where it prompts you for little things like, did you know your card had a second function that did this? And you're like, no, I did not, and I would have missed that in a real event. Thank you, GEMP, for saving my ass. Um, so we're playing a little wait and see there. Following that, World Championships, October, Washington, D.C. area. The hotel's outside D.C. in Virginia. That's what's coming up. That event is expected to be live. We're expecting to have all of the restrictions, or at least enough of the restrictions, removed by then to be able to hold that event in person, especially the way things seem to really be trending right now. Let's see what we got. Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys very, very much. California's now 100% occupancy. Excellent. Oklahoma has no mask requirement. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the states moving to that. Florida's been that way for a little while. I think Texas is kind of moving that way. So COVID is moving away. And yeah, hopefully things will get back to us being able to have events in person. Until then, we have this wonderful thing called the Online Championship Series. We took a break for April. We did February. We did March. We took a break for April. Now we've got month number 3. This will wrap up our first season for our at-large bids. That started on 5-3 here. Well, let's go take a look at the old scoreboard first. Where everybody was. Cumulative scoreboard. There it is. And thanks to Joe for continuing to keep this updated. So, we see people who have already qualified. We had Justin Desai and Paul Myers qualified last month. Bastian and Brian Fred qualified in the first month. And at the end of month number 3, the top 2 scores of players who have not qualified will earn at-large bids. So this month we'll have 4 people who will qualify. We'll have 2 people who will have great records this month, like normal, and will qualify, and then 2 people very likely out of this pile of people in here. A couple of 19 and 5s, 18 and 6s, maybe a 17 and 7 if they have a really strong month and a few other people kind of struggle. Or these people qualify. You know, if Kyle and Matt qualify and, you know, Joe doesn't get all his games in or something, and, you know, maybe some of these 17 and 7 guys go 10 and 2, but have a lower strength of schedule, so maybe they don't get the qualification, could certainly move up and still get one of the 2 at-large bids. So there's a lot of things that can happen here. There's, you know, a dozen or so players all in the running here for those 2 at-large bids, and then of course there's the 2 people who just have really good months who could come from anywhere. That will wrap up Season 1. Then we move on to June at the start of Season 2. Take a break for July because we're expecting to have Nationals. Whether it's in person or online, the event will still take place in July. So it's nice to have another little monthly break there. And then we'll come back and we'll play months 2 and 3 in August and September. Excuse me. And again, the same thing. These 3 months will be cumulatively added together to create 2 additional at-large bids. So even if you went 12 and 12 the first, or whatever, 36 games, 12 and 24, the first little session here, okay, great. Shrug it off, put your new decks together, come back, and this is a whole new sprint here. Scores go back to 0 for everybody. So if you miss time these months, you're not penalized for that going forward in that second sprint. So it becomes a whole new ball game. It's wide open for anybody to qualify. If you haven't purchased the season pass, you can still get in for $10 a month to any of these events. If there are any additional at-large bids because people who have already qualified finish in the top 3 spots and one would get passed down, the additional at-large bid that is created is cumulative over the whole 6 months. I don't know if we're going to get any of those. It's pretty rare that we've had extra at-large bids over the last couple of years. There's maybe like one extra one has popped up every now and then. But if one extra one should pop up, it would be a cumulative all 6-month scoring total. So that's really the only place it would come into play. It would reward people for being those GEMP warriors and playing all the time. Do I have to, you want me to scroll down and find Dan? Okay, we'll go look for Dan. Dan, that's not a good start, but 3 and 21, that's fine. Because whatever happens this month, you shrug it off, and then you come back with a clean slate. Start all over. Turn it around. And, you'll get plenty of practice tomorrow. That is one of the other things as we roll into, we'll check the scoreboard in just a second to see what's going on. But as long as I'm on the PC forum site, I want to talk about this May the 4th stuff because there's a lot of stuff going on, including the return of Dan's other show, Dan Plays, where he just accepts random challengers, streams his games, and plays people. Dan has agreed to do a 12-hour marathon somewhere in here. 12-hour long stream. Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific to 10 p.m. I'm sure he'll take short little breaks in there to actually eat or whatnot. He'll probably eat while he's playing. Maybe a little break between games, I'm sure, while he's waiting for opponents and things like that. But he can certainly get some of his OCS games in for the month. And if you would like to challenge Dan, here's all the instructions on how to do it. I was Dan's first opponent on his show, however long ago that was, when his first episode was out. We played Premier to Death Star 2 decks, just so it wasn't open format, and we were kind of highlighting one of the alternate formats as well. Little did we know there'd be a Premier to Death Star 2 event, whole event that we would run that would have over 100 players in it. So, these little things, you just do them because they make sense, and then other great stuff happens because of it. So, Dan's got his pee bucket ready. Okay. He's taking all Starbucks cards tomorrow. Well, whatever Scott sent you, man, put it to good use. I know, thank you very much to the advocate, Scott Lingrell. He sent some gift cards to all the streamers who did stuff, and he was supposed to send you mine, so hopefully he did, and you have some extra for all your hard work and incentive and to help you prepare for this 12-hour stream. I hope you put it to good use. So thank you for doing this, buddy. But there's other stuff going on with this May the 4th. We've got Trilogy Leagues on GEMP. Encourage everyone to kind of create thematic decks. This screams Andrew Moss. If you don't know Andrew Moss, Andrew pretty much only builds his decks to be theme specific within the timeline in which the deck actually occurred. So if he's playing a Prophet deck where you're rescuing Han from Jabba's palace, he's not going to use Anakin Skywalker in that deck because Anakin's Darth Vader at that point in the timeline. He's not going to use Qui-Gon Jinn because Qui-Gon's dead at that point in the timeline in that deck. He still builds very competitive decks. He still has pretty good results and with them, and they all fit in within that little narrative, which is just a cool little added bonus. But yeah, we've got maximum games 20 games in the league, 45-minute time limits. Kind of just embrace that thematic side for it. And then post your details of your game, kind of how it goes. A little bit of a Star Wars story here. Embrace the different Trilogy Leagues, which you can find if you go to Leagues. We've got a prequel one, we've got the original trilogy, we've got a sequel one, which would be, all your episode 7 and beyond stuff. Now you've got the Mandalorian show that would also fit into here too. You've got, I think we're going to go with everything before A New Hope would be considered prequel. So Rogue One would fit into the prequel period, I guess, even though it kind of ends right at the beginning of A New Hope, and that's sort of like same timeline. I think that would probably fall. It's everything before the original Star Wars A New Hope movie, I think would fall into the prequel category. But then you've got the leagues here, of course, and get some extra foils. We've got some people who've already played a handful of games. Have some fun, play with some cards you don't ordinarily get to do because you're too busy, trying to cram Dr. Ian Ponda Boba and Mara Jade with Lightsaber into your map deck because they're just, very good and very efficient. That you could instead play with some additional characters that maybe don't get to see as much gameplay and have some fun with that. So you got those. Oh, there's also a Premier to Death Star 2 League for May the 4th as well. In addition to those leagues, content creation, write a tournament report, write some other stuff going on that you've got. Corin, I mentioned, that has been doing his interviews with his bad deck breakdowns for a little while. Here's an interview he just did with Jerry Darcy, one of the original game designers. And I think he also just posted, oh, sorry, that was actually Brandon's. So Corin did Jerry Darcy, one of the original game designers, who does also appear in Brandon's movie that may or may not be ever coming out sometime soon, about the Star Wars CCG, his little documentary. He started filming, I think, back in like 2018, and did some interviews. Brandon just posted also on here, we have his interview with former lead designer Chuck Callenbach. Chuck did some of the later sets. So Jerry did some of the earlier sets, like Premiere through like Dagobah. He was kind of the lead designer with some of the other guys, Raleigh and some of those other guys working on the original sets. Chuck kind of became a little bit lead designer a little later on in the process. So he released some snippets of the interview he did with Chuck. You can find out some more about the history of the game and some of the later sets. I think Endor and Death Star 2, that area is kind of where it's focused most on with this one. But you can also get some information on why the Hoth Energy Shield rules work the way they do. Why Decipher didn't ban cards. And the one card developers most wanted to ban. I know some people would say Grimtosh and Monarch. Where's Matt Wadden, right? And then there was this, shameless plug for my show that Jared happened to put up there. That's awesome. Thank you for putting that together. I'm not exactly 100% sure what this picture was from or what I was holding that got photoshopped out for this sign. But good job putting all that together. So that should all be up there. Write some tournament reports. Oh, he did post it today. Perfect. So there's the interview that he did with Jerry Darcy, the first 3 sets. Kendall Cast right there. Fire it up. Give it a good listen. Kendall asked some good questions. I wonder if he played the Pivot questionnaire with Jerry Darcy. I'll have to listen to that and find out. Don't spoil it. Don't tell me. Oh, that was my Hall of Fame trophy? Okay. That got photoshopped out. I feel like I was wearing a different shirt in that one. Yeah, that's not the Hall of Fame photo. I had a different shirt on that one when I got the Hall of Fame one. But even still, that's awesome. We all, any sports fans know the night Wilt scored 100. They took a photo of him holding up on a crudely written piece of paper that he scored 100 points. It was against the Celtics in, I forget, in the early 60s, I want to say. He scored 100 points in one game. I think they still won, which is always important because they always hear something about those stars who score a ridiculous number of points and then the team still loses. But yeah, Wilt was unstoppable that night. That is an NBA record that still holds to this day. I think Kobe's the one who's came the closest. I think he got 80 or something. But this guy did go toe to toe with Schwarzenegger in that Conan movie, so you got to give him some credit. We've got this whole little thing about primers. If you want to help with some of the deck primers, you can work with the aforementioned CRG and Ryan Serson to work on some new content, some different ideas. Top 10 virtual cards no one plays. Top 10 Decipher cards no one plays. Common cards to account for in your opponent's decks. Who should my resistant agent be? That's always a good question. So lots of interesting thoughts here, and feel free to reach out to either of these guys to get some information for articles, deck lists, all in this primer section of the forums as well. And Star Wars CCG storytelling. What's your story? How did you learn how to play? What have you done recently in the game that you've, furthers that story along? You ran into an old buddy who used to play Star Wars with when you were kids, and it's like, I haven't seen you in 20 years. What are you up to? I distinctly remember, so I lived in New York State when I was a kid. I moved back to New Jersey when I started high school in the mid-90s. Early 90s, I don't know, like 94. We'll call that mid-90s. Left some of my New York friends behind. Didn't really, see them or talk to them again. You kind of outgrow your middle school friends, right? Especially when they live 2 hours away. Fast forward 5 years, I'm in a card shop in northern New Jersey playing in a Star Wars tournament. In comes one of those guys. He's visiting an aunt and uncle for the weekend and heard about a Star Wars tournament, and he's been playing for a little while. So he came to check out the game and see what it was like. Hadn't seen this guy in probably about 6 years since then. Now we're both grown-ups, both, went from having sleepovers playing Nintendo all night to now we're driving ourselves around and whatnot, and in college to playing some Star Wars in a card shop in northern New Jersey just randomly. So you never know where this game is going to go, where it's going to take you, the people you're going to meet along the way, and how that may, change your life in some way. I'm sure there's a handful of us over the years who may have gotten at least job interviews because of someone we knew who had a similar field, who, might have had an opening at their company, or might have written you a letter of recommendation for something, or given you some feedback about, like, hey, this is what I do and this is how I look for candidates for people that I'd want to hire to come work with me. So make sure you sell that to whoever's interviewing you. It's just great to see how this game and this community continue to pay things forward in a variety of different ways. So here's some more stuff that, tell us your story. Here's a great spot. Fill it in. Give us some details. Here we talk about David Woods talking about, going to Worlds in 2002 when, like, he's a kid and his dad drove and he didn't even know where they were going. They just got in the car and went from Tennessee to the tournament, which was in Virginia Beach. To fast forward a few years later when he enlists in the Navy and he's assigned in Norfolk, Virginia, which is where Decipher's headquarters was and where the 2002 World Championships were held. and finally putting two and two together that, wait a minute, I've actually been here before. This is where I played in that tournament, and now this is where I live, and I'm in the Navy. Awesome story. Thanks for sharing, David. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have some great stories out there that we'd all love to hear. CRG and Ryan are also looking for mini articles, also looking for tournament reports. Write your tournament report about the MPC. Write it about the Premiere to Death Star 2 event. Write it about your OCS event. Write it about your league that you're running or being a participant in. We love tournament reports. We love to get people's perspectives on how they played, why they chose the decks they did, what kind of weird interactions they had, and most importantly, what they had fun doing. I lost every game, but I blew up 3 Death Stars. Great! That's amazing. How many other people can say that they blew up 3 Death Stars in a tournament? So there's all some great stuff to celebrate May the 4th and to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Players Committee and of the Star Wars CCG. And we're probably almost coming up to the 20th anniversary of the Players Committee not too long from now. That'll be next year, right? 2002 was the kind of the foundation of the Players Committee after Decipher lost the license at the end of 2001. Marketing team's going to have to get to work on something for that too. They got a good guy leading them, so I'm sure they will come up with some brilliant ideas, no doubts about that. So there's all the May the 4th stuff. We're still wrapping up the retro event, this Premiere Death Star 2 thing. There's still a few days left to get your games in if you haven't played your 10 games. Is it up here still? Oh, it's down here at the bottom. All right, so most people have finished their 10 games. We got 3 10-0s in our top 3 spots. Congrats to Justin. I believe this is Miguel, and that's Kuhn, I think. Excuse me. A couple of 9-1s as well. Hayes, Joe Olson. I don't know Zutton offhand. And Bastion here. It's a top 8 cut. So Casey's currently sitting in that 8th spot with a great 61% win percentage, but at 8-2. So if anybody else goes 9-1, and Kurt Bob is right down here, number 15. Not sure who Kurt Bob is. But if he were to win his last game, he would move up into 8th spot and bump Casey out. Everybody else down here, for the most part, either doesn't have enough games left to play or is a little behind on the old point scale. Hey, Dan, there you are. You're 5-5. That's not bad. I'm 4-4 this event, so that was kind of par for the course for me in the Decipher era. Usually I'd, 500 in a lot of events up until about 2000. When I started to turn the corner, I started to get like 5-3 at some tournaments or 4-2 finishes in 6-game events. Court of the Vile Gangster here, he's 5-0, but with only about a week left to go, he'd have to play 5 games and win 4 out of the 5. And as we get closer and closer to the finish line here, games do get harder to come by because more people have finished their games, or they realized, oh, I only played 2 games in 6 weeks. Like, I'm never going to get these last 8 games in that I need to get the prize for completing all 10 games, because I believe there is a prize for playing all 10 of your games. They start to realize, yeah, there's no way I'm ever going to get the rest of these games in, and I'm, 1-3 or whatever. I don't have a chance at qualifying, so I'm really just playing like 7 more games in this format just to get the foil prize. Some people, that might be worth it to them. Other people might be like, maybe I'll focus my attention on something else. So games do get harder to come by as more and more people start to finish up. These guys who were at 8 and 9 games, yeah, they're probably going to try and squeeze those last 2 out to get to this that 10 threshold, because it's only 10 games, not 12. So there will be some handful of games still available, but they are going to start tightening up as more and more people hit that 10. A foil Death Star 2 Chasm Walkway for all who complete all 10 games. Death Star 2 Chasm Walkway was a recently released virtual card that you typically see in Hitco decks because they have the dual function of an interrupt that pulls it. That fits better with their theme, but certainly could fit into other decks as well. Would really wreak havoc on Bring 'em Before Me, right? You just go to your site, move over, kick the Emperor's butt, and then move back and start draining for 2 and 2. We haven't seen a lot of Bring 'em Before Me in a while. I wonder, do you think it's that site? I think it's other things. They keep that deck out of the play. I posted my tournament report on the retro event a bit early, and evidently Joe used it as MPC prep. That stuff is more valuable than you realize. All right. Definitely encourage people to keep creating content. We love hearing stories from, not just the guy who won the major event, giving his feedback on how he was successful, but other people who participated in the tournament, who had a good time, who had some great games against some great opponents, and just want to tell their story. We love listening to great stories like that. So please share your experiences. And again, still have about a week. Just actually exactly a week, because the clock's about to change to the 4th here on GEMP server time shortly. Ooh, almost there. It's almost May the 4th in GEMP land. All right, let's circle back. Let's look at this OCS May qualifier, because I know Saturday night, Saturday night after the MPC finals were over and the clock then ticked over, making it May 1st in GEMP land. People were already online playing their very first OCS game of the month. Has anyone finished? We're 3 days in. Has anyone played all 12 already? Let's find out. I'm going to guess probably not, but I'm going to guess somebody's played like 7 or 8. Oh, I was way off. Slower start to the month. Oh, Gavin's off to a 3-0 start. Okay. Drew's right there at 2-1. Both these guys are certainly in the running for at-large bids. So if they also don't qualify for that, getting off to a strong start here with a couple of early wins could help out with that. I was expecting to see Kyle had played like 6 or 7 games already. Kyle usually just, as soon as the month rolls over, there he is, just cranking out his games like that first day. But only a handful of people have played so far. Still have plenty of games left to go. There's plenty of people still left to play their games. We got an OCS game going on right now. Ichian was just playing earlier when we started the show. He had a table up against Matt Sperling. Did he win that game? Looks like he did. He did win that game. Sperling has the loss. Ichian does not. Now he's moved on to his second game, where he is playing court against Justin's Throne Room. I won't pop into that game. It's mostly over. Let's go look at the board. We'll pop in real quick. We'll do a drop-in. So court's doing courty stuff. They've got the system kind of locked down here, getting around battle plan, drain for 1. They've got the audience chamber stacked up here, draining for 1. Meanwhile, we started Nagak Warbeast instead. This is the one that gets around, sorry about the mess, Leia's Blaster, that kind of stuff. Character vehicle or starship is about to be lost before the damage segment, so they're being made immediately lost. They were hit, sorry about the mess, or Leia's gun shot them. That kind of thing. Does not get around Clash, by the way. Clash excludes them from the battle, and once they're excluded from the battle, if they were hit, then they have to be lost and they're forfeited. So they're still excluded because of the Clash. and then they have to leave the table. But instead, it gets them forfeited for 0. Now, interestingly enough, if they were hit by a weapon that did not reduce their forfeit, and then sorry about the mess, this would stop them from leaving the battle, but it then reduces their forfeit to 0. So can be a bit of a double-edged sword. You have to be careful about stuff like that. You know, if they were hit by, I don't know, Ahsoka Tano with lightsaber, who reduces forfeit, she doesn't make it 0, and then sorry about the mess to remove them, and you're like, oh, well, you know, they don't go anywhere. But at the end of the battle, when you forfeit them, they're going to go for 0, so they're not going to cover any battle damage or any attrition, and may end up forcing you to forfeit extra characters. You'd kind of end up in the same spot anyway, right? Because if they're sorry about the mess, then they're not there and they're not counting. So at least that way you still get to keep their ability. But you know, something to be mindful of if you're trying to figure out, you know, whether to modify destinies or things like that. And you're like, ah, no, she still has like forfeit 5. It's like, no, she's actually gonna be forfeit 0. So, all right. So we've got Luke, Yoda, and Rey piled up at this site. They both have lightsabers, so they're adding to the drain. He just played the I can handle myself card to also boost that drain. So that's going to be a drain of 4 at the pit. And Ichien's going to have to lose some cards here. He's losing a Gick from hand. Usually you do that when you've got 2. He moves some droids over. Could be possibly trying to set up a disarmed or something with 4-lum. Or some people he's just out of force, so he's doing it in bits and pieces. So it was like deploy Guri, move over 4-lum. That's turn 1, and then next turn it'll be like deploy 2 other dudes and then battle, and you'll have like 4 guys there at the same time. P-59 from hand, Velkin Tazeri from hand, Bosk from hand, so he certainly had some characters. Darkseid needs to find their Probot to get more damage in. Yeah, this is usually the point in the game when you see Lightside kind of pile up like this, where they start to do like Dr. Aphra, who's already over here in the audience chamber. Like she goes to the throne room, she retrieves Probot. Probot goes to the Jedi Council chamber, or the Boss Nash chamber or something like that, and now suddenly you're camped out at all their non-battlegrounds, threatening quite a bit of damage. That's usually where this game goes from being like, oh, drain 2 for free, pay 3 to drain for 3. Let's see who can outlast the other one, to suddenly, Court just kind of vomits a bunch of stuff on the board and gets like 1 turn off where they drain for like 7. But Justin with the 10 card hand, probably not too vulnerable to that right now. I'm sure he's got some guys like, Solo, Lando, Leia, that he could plop down in a couple of places. But again, with only 15 force and wanting to battle in 2 or 3 spots, he might have to be content with just blocking the drains and then forcing Darkseid to battle into him to clear those sites, which benefits Darkseid because they've got scum out, and then they're going to retrieve 2 for each of those battles. So it gets into a very weird interaction there where you want to battle them so they're not retrieving cards, but do you have enough force to deploy guys to initiate battles and to draw destinies? Ichian verifies his reserve deck. He's got 4-2-4, 5-5 in there, so some pretty stout destinies. See what he's got left up his sleeve here. He saved 5 cards. He left 5 back. So he activated, he force drained. Okay, there's the Boba Fett Bounty Hunter. He's going to add 2 Battle Destiny when with Forlom. There's Aura Singh with gun, so she's going to have 2 Destiny available to possibly shoot at somebody. So 2 Destiny to shoot and 3 Battle Destiny to draw. This is non-V Forlom, the original Forlom, so most likely he's going to use Forlom's game text first to target Luke to cancel Luke's game text, so he doesn't have to pay 1 force to fire a weapon. Like he'll pay 1 for Forlom, and then he won't have to use his last force to also fire with Aura Singh. Or if that other card in his hand is something useful, like a sniper or something like that, if he shoots with Aura Singh at Luke and then can eliminate Luke from the battle, that would obviously be the most ideal situation. Court isn't usually known for playing cards that remove characters from battle, though. Like that. Hidden weapons could be a thing, too. He could have a hidden weapons. Try and hidden weapons Luke or something and capture him with Boba Fett. Even if you dump him used just to get him out of there, and then you can shoot at 2 other people. So we do have a battle. We've got 3 Battle Destiny going here. Currently. We'll see what kind of weapons and targetings we're looking at. There's always the possibility that, that Forlom targeting gets blaster deflectioned. Aura's going to take a shot at Rey. Only drawn 1 Destiny. All-Stars is going to dodge that to make the Destiny -3. Hey, there's the Probot that we were just talking about. So that's actually a -1, which then gets adjusted to 0. Hey, there's that Clash of Sabers we were talking about. So Boba Fett's going to get clashed out of the battle. That's not good at all for Ichian. He just went from 19 power and 3 Battle Destiny to 12 power and 1 Battle Destiny. It did cost All-Stars 3 force to play it, though, because Battle Order First Strike is on the table, so he's got no force left to play any additional interrupts. But he does still have 2 lightsaber swings. And now the question becomes is, do you still want to cancel Luke's text? I think you probably do, because he still adds 1 to his weapon destiny draws. So there's always the possibility that Luke could miss swinging at like Guri or somebody if he's not adding 1 to both draws. If he's adding 1 to both draws, it's really rare for him to miss anyone under like ability 6 or 7. Forlom's going to cancel Yoda's game text. That will take 3 power away, because Yoda was defending. He's power +3. So that subtracts 3 from power. Luke swings at Guri. That gets met with an O switch off. And now Rey will swing at Aura Singh. And draws a 9, so definitely going to hit whoever. And now we'll get to the Battle Destiny phase. Darkseid draws a 4. That'll get rid of Yoda, I'm guessing. Lightside draws a 0. A saddle. Interesting. Just a random 2-0 that can't be invaded. Okay, so Ray does add 1 to the total there. So somebody's still going to have to die. So Aura goes, she's forfeit 0, and then Darkseid has to lose somebody else on top of it. If you're light side here, you probably lose. Yakshid only forfeits for 3, right? So you kind of have to lose Yoda here so you don't lose the lightsabers for either character, and you can keep up the big drain. And he does. And now if you're dark side, you're going, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to lose 4-Lom and keep Guri there. And then Boba Fett's going to go lost or out of play or whatever because I don't have any force left to spend maintenance on him, and he can't do anything anyway because he's clashed. And then Darkseid has 0 hand and not a lot of force left to work with. And Lightside has 7 cards in hand plus 14 still down. Okay, he loses Guri. I guess that fits better with. He doesn't have a hand, so I'm not sure. Who knows what other cards he might have available in his deck. And there goes Boba Fett out of play. Lightside's going to activate. He's going to check his destiny and really just shuffle his deck. Those should be the cards he drew. Those are the 3 cards he used to play the Clash, so he doesn't know what those are. The destinies he drew were on top of them. So now he's going to check and find out what those 3 cards were. He did that during his activate phase. He activated 1 more after that, so I guess he found the answer he was looking for. Whether it's I've got good destinies and I can go battle, or it's not so great. Maybe I'll do something different this turn. He does pay to drain. He'll drain for 3. And these are all going to get top decked because Ichian has no hand. There goes the no escape. There goes the Twi'lek. There goes a bunch of high destiny cards that he was hoping to draw last turn with Boba Fett for battle destiny and really put a big dent in that grouping, we'll call him, at the Great Pit of Carkoon. He activates, he pays to drain, he uses Yakshit to retrieve, or to take a weapon. Is it retrieve, or is it take? I think it's take a weapon into hand, so it's not even a retrieval. He goes and gets a weapon or device. Excuse me. So now we're at the point in the game where Darkside's draining for 2, Lightside's paying to drain for 3. Lightside has a couple more cards available to them. Darkside doesn't really have much of a hand, so this one's just academic at this point. So we're going to go ahead and pop back to the old lobby, as it's highly likely that All Stars is going to win the game from where the board position is. Okay. Now we're going to move on to our game link. This was submitted to me by Joker King. the 2021 GEMP PC champion. Congrats again to him for winning that. He played a game the other day that he described as pretty interesting and interactive with Dylan, who I believe was also in the Final Four of that event. It was, shocker, Court against Rebel Strike Team. Rebel Strike Team's not a deck we featured a whole lot, so I wanted to mix that up a little bit. Plus, there might be like a bunker getting blown up, and epic events are always fun. All right. So Court's doing its typical setup here with Battle Order First Strike, Jabba's Haven, and wipe them out. On the flip side, you've got Rebel Leadership, the Rebel Strike Team, playing Strike Planning, which we see quite often, getting generals, getting cricks, getting solo. Walkling is a little bit of a variation here for the second effect, and Guts, probably a direct counter to Scum here. Certainly plenty of rebels of ability equal 3, so they'll all be power and forfeit +1, +2 if they go invade Jabba's palace. And while Han's at a battleground, opponent retrieves no force from Scum and Villainy, and General Solo being a key component of this deck, he's likely to be at a battleground. Curious, neither version of the shield is down, unless he happens to be, running 5 or 6 copies of it and just floating them in his deck like they used to back in the day. There we see a Throw Me Another Charge. That is an easily cyclable Destiny 6 interrupt that also happens to get the explosive charges that you need. Also attempts to cancel Trooper Charge, Trooper Assault, Blasted Droid, or Dark Jedi Presence. So Trooper Assault, Dark Jedi Presence, canceling those is pretty exciting. I'm a little disappointed in Joker King. Only like 90% of this deck is foil. What's going on? You're going to play with that many foils. You just commit, man. Get the rest of them. I know it's not as easy as it sounds on GEMP. There's an allowance. Impressive. I will say that. Certainly helps with the My Card Foil League, which I'm guessing is where most of this stuff came from. Alright, so he uses the audience. He had Scum in hand, so no need to pull Jabba. He's going to use the Audience Chamber's text instead to pull Lady Proxima. And save a force. Well, he's got wipe, so he doesn't necessarily need to save a force, because he can activate one. He's got Greedo in hand to deploy as a react. And then there's always the threat of None Shall Pass, which we know that Scum decks typically play a couple copies of to stop, mostly to stop Luke from coming into the Audience Chamber and ruining their day, but could work on other rebels like these guys, Solo and Crix that we were talking about. So Crix is cool. Once during your deploy phase, you take a scout of ability less than 3 into hand from reserve deck. There's a handful of guys that fit that criteria, and girls, because you can get Sabine as well, who meet that criteria, scout of ability less than 3. And because it's deploy phase, where so many of these searches are control phase, so you end up deploying them, and then they have to live to the following turn to really benefit, like Proxima, for example. During your control phase, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, take an alien into hand. Crix is an immediate benefit. You deploy him, you use him, you pull somebody else, and in this case, it's Corporal Kensaric, while present at an exterior battleground site with your other scout, which Solo is. Adds 2 to deploy cost of opponents' characters, vehicles, and starships to same site. It's only 1 if Gunite is on the table, but that was a problem, in the Decipher era. Now that we've kind of shielded Gunite to go away, not so much of a problem. You don't see that card at all anymore. Commit to the foils. Commit. Yeah. I'm sure Chris Kelly has a deck that's 99% foils. if not 100% foil. Then you get did we resume? What's going on here? Okay, so we got some shield pull. There's a launch in the assault. That's what Wackling usually pulls, launch in the assault, so then you can set up your home 1, which he does take into hand. He does not deploy Kansaric yet. There's the bunker that he had in hand, which Solo can pull for you. And there's Kansaric. Once per turn, may upload a non-interrupt card with door in game text. Non-interrupt card with door. Alright, so that's how you can get the shield down, I guess. You can use Solo and take it into hand too. Because I believe that specifically lets you get the back door. Or at least one of the versions does. And then this is the virtual bunker, which says unless you occupy bunker, your characters may not deploy here. I guess it doesn't say anything about them moving there, though, so you could just stroll on in. We'll see what happens. There's the 3PO. Only deployed for 1, huh? Your droids and Endor Rebels are deploy -1 here. Okay. Oh, yikes. That's not good at all. So he had to top deck, he had to lose a force because of the court objective. He doesn't have anybody on Tatooine at the end of his deploy phase. He top decks a card and top decks the back door. Yikes. Well, you can blow up the bunker, just now your guys don't have anywhere to escape to. And Coward immediately hit the table. So now he also can't retrieve that right away by putting Wackling out of play. He's doing some stuff here. If I were Darkseid, I would immediately pay 3 to drain there. He did not. I absolutely would have paid 3 to drain to bury that back door so he can't just deploy somebody else to a second battleground and then Wackling it back. Maybe he's got more than 1 copy and he wasn't afraid to burn it. But to me, my initial reaction would be my opponent has just made a mistake. I need to capitalize on that. Now, he's got another strategy that doesn't involve force draining and involves initiating a battle, where he's going to make him lose guys that'll end up on top of his lost pile, so this also works out. Orasing with Blaster is going to shoot at 3PO. Just nice and easy. Guarantee you hit somebody, take him off the board, stop his card cycle, and importantly, put a card in the lost pile on top of that back door. Yeah, Obi-Wan V. That would be it. Certainly would be an out. Yeah. Obi-Wan Virtual can exchange 2 cards to get that back door back, but there's a Battle Destiny of 4. Light side blind draws a 6. You're going to have to lose both guys if you're dark side here, just to the battle damage. Orasing would cover the attrition, but you don't want to leave Doctor E obviously there by himself, so just safely lose them both. Dark side, light side loses Corporal Kansaric, who is forfeit 4. He's a 2-4, as opposed to some of the other guys who were 2-3s. And with only 10 force being active, because the shield is down, is not on the table yet. The Stinger, kind of just chilling by himself, not overly threatened. Can't react there, though. This thing can only have Guri added to it, so you can't add anybody else to it. So if he were to put a ship down and battle it, he does have the Gick, but... Uh-oh. We got some guys going to the old audience chamber. There's the shield is down. Okay. So we've got Sabine Scout, Major Bren Scout. Major Bren here also deploys free to the Cantina, Endor, or Hoth, so he's a great one, and he's a 2/5. And then Sabine says, with an Imperial, it has text about firing blasters, which is great, much like Jodo Cast. But also the big text here is immune to hidden weapons, so you can't target her with it to get her. And while with an Imperial or 2 Rebels, whenever you win a battle, opponent loses 2 force. Does he have enough force for another Rebel? I don't know. Hey, look, there's another Rebel. And that's a good one, too. And a Stun Blaster. Uh-oh. Now we just got saucy. Just blow it up and retrieve 8. Who cares if all your dudes die? Yeah, you gotta find the shield is down to do the retrieval. So he did find the shield is down. Force generation is +1 at Endor sites, and you can deploy a backdoor from reserve deck because it says door. Solo can pull this. When bunker blown away, retrieve 8 force, and opponent must place their hand in their used pile. Now you can play the Senate shield as long as you have 12 or fewer cards in your hand. It would prevent you from having to put your hand in your used pile because your opponent can't remove cards from your hand is what the shield says. So that would stop that part. We got Kraken coming down to be the 3rd scout here. While all your ability here is provided by scouts or spies, they're all scouts, adds a battle destiny. So now you've got 9 power, 2 battle destiny, and Sabine just got herself a Stun Blaster, which is a pretty twisted little combo here. Deploys for free, spends 2 force to shoot, draw destiny. If destiny +1 greater than defense value, you put the character you targeted back in their hand. And Sabine, the first part of her text that we skipped over, said once per turn when firing a blaster, you can target for free and add 2 to the total. So instead of paying 2 to shoot that annoying stun blaster, she shoots for free. And now it's basically +3 greater than defense value to put somebody back in your hand. So in this situation here, if he were to react with Greedo, well then Sabine's just going to shoot Proxima, put Proxima back in her hand, and the 3 of these guys are going to kick the crap out of Greedo. And instead, he's just going to blind draw 2 Destiny here and beat the crap out of Proxima. Either way, I think you're still ending up with a Gick being used here. That's even worse. At least you figure if you draw something like Major Bren goes away, and then he still keeps these 2 people, and he still has a pretty solid stack there. But instead, he loses the battle, has to lose 2 force, gets rid of the passenger deck, top decks Afra, and then loses Proxima and plays the Gick to cancel the remaining battle damage. And now the audience chamber belongs to the light side. Okay. 1 force is left, so if Greedo does come down, light side would still have the ability to fire the gun with Sabine. We've got Aura, we've got Forlom, we've got Greedo. There's Guri going to the Stinger for free, well for 2 because the Goldenrod is out. Now if Forlom cancels Sabine's text, that would not have enough force then to fire the gun, which is kind of the situation I think we're in here. And just going to add an extra guy for some forfeit fodder. Battle for free. will not retrieve because Guts over here solos at a battleground. Yep, 4 LOM at Sabine, so no extra battle destiny. Sorry, no stun blaster, rather. Aura takes a shot at Kraken. Kraken's now hit, so he's going to go away. And probably take Major Bren with him. Lightside does still get 2 battle destiny, though, in the way they've been drawn with all these, 4s and 6s. This could easily be multiple dark side characters. Alright, double leadership there for a total of 8. That will be 2 characters here. I think you gotta go Wolf Greedo here if you're dark side. Yep, light side loses everybody but Sabine. So light side definitely getting off script here in terms of what they're doing. They do have the ability to still pull scouts here. And we're going to get our Ewok buddy. This is one of the other scouts you can get. This is Wuta. Deploys only on Endor. All Ewoks have this text with their power and forfeit +1 for each light side icon at the site that they're at. So in this case, he becomes 2 power and 3 forfeit. But Wuta's benefit is 1 string each of your deploy phases. If at an exterior Endor site, like the landing site, you can use 2 force to deploy another Endor site from reserve deck. We see a lot of people get Chief Chirpa's Hut with this to get an extra 2-0 force activation. And since it's kind of pullable, you pull Crix, Crix pulls Wuta, Wuta pulls Chirpa's Hut. Now you don't have to worry about playing, additional interrupts like Wisas and things to pull Boss Nash Chambers and worrying about having non-battlegrounds on other planets. With the shield is down out as well until you flip and blow up the bunker and whatnot, you get an extra pull. So basically it becomes a 3-0. And now we got Chewie going to the audience chamber. Gonna initiate a battle. And gonna shoot 4 LOM here. A little risky. LOM gets bounced back to hand. Dark side can still kind of clear some people out. They both have high defense values, but that is going to miss. Chewie's got a text that lets him roar to make him defense value 4 rather. Now we get a battle destiny. Aura does forfeit for 7 here, so that's going to be a tie. So Sabine is kind of stranded again, but added benefit. She can still use the blaster, right? I mean, 4 LOM did get put back in hand, so Darkseid can redeploy 4 LOM and battle and cancel her text again, but he does still have 2 force available to shoot the gun this time. He pulls simple tricks, which doesn't really do anything right now because he's not retrieving because of scum anyway. Mara's going to get a swing at Sabine. That's a really good start. Any type of defensive interrupt. Sabine's a female, so the handle yourself card would protect her as well. Nope. Sabine is going to get hit and be forfeit 0. Now, do you want to pay to put Mara back in hand to try to avoid the battle damage? It seems like it's the best course of action. Make them have to spend force to redeploy Mara again. And that'll get her. You can make an argument for not wanting to do that because then Mara's stuck in the audience chamber, but at the same point in time, you know, court has 15 other characters. It's not like they're really going to be hurting for characters to put in the audience chamber. You'd rather save yourself from the battle damage because you're basically going to lose cards in addition to whatever the destiny is. Could be like a 2, could be a 5. We may never know. There's to deactivate the shield generator. And we'll go over how that works. Now you have to occupy the bunker, I think, to deploy the charges that add to the destiny. So probably not going to be able to blow it up this turn. Doesn't move over either. He just deployed it to get a card out of his hand. So then he can draw a bunch of cards. So let's talk about deactivate the shield generator. During your control phase, if you control the bunker with a rebel, you can attempt to blow it away. So you have to control the site to do it, which is already hard because you know, you deploy this stuff, you move your guys in, and then your opponent just kind of deploys a pile of guys in front of you and says go. That's usually the smart play there. You don't battle into them. They battle you. They kill a couple of your guys, but not all of them. Then you deploy 1 or 2 more to kind of reinforce. And you just kind of keep churning through each other's guys for a few turns while you prevent them from being able to blow up the bunker and you're doing damage somewhere else. You kind of really stall them out on this, and then they can't pay to retrieve. They can't do some of these other things when the time comes. Or they may never get it blown up if you have enough characters and you can kill enough of their guys. If you have guys with weapons, you know, you can hit 1 or 2 people and then cause, you know, other guys to be lost due to attrition. You can get rid of 2 or 3 guys per battle. And if you're a deck like Scum that has 20 characters, 22 characters, you can really keep that cycle going for a few turns. You have no advantage to battling into them because your Scum retrieval here is canceled currently. So it really doesn't make sense to do that, and you kind of just let them battle into you. Unless you get solo off the table, and then maybe it's a slightly different choice. Mara's going to go back to the audience chamber to help protect the Scum. And we're going to get the objective using Zuckuss and Mist Hunter. Or it's going to find Zuckuss and Mist Hunter. Now that Lightside has committed to space, I'm sorry, Darkside has committed to space, Lightside's going to play a Rebel Leadership, presumably to go to get Akbar to go on that, along with that home 1. Excuse me. So now we've got Zuckuss plus Guri and Stinger. The Rebel Leadership was grabbed. Staring down a 12 force home 1. That is going to get hit with an Imperial Barrier. And Lightside will grab that. We'll see if they also have a canceller for it. Nope, no canceller. Check the destiny. It's a 3 and a 4. There's Akbar. Han gets his heavy blaster pistol. I don't know what's up with the graphic on that. There we go. Finally caught up. This is the cool virtual gun that shoots people during the control phase. This would certainly speed things up a little bit if you were kind of stacking up in front of them, because now they can pick off a guy before the battle, and then shoot somebody else. That's an interesting addition. Plus, there's interrupts that pull blasters. The Mandalorian Mishap interrupt, I believe, pulls blasters, so kind of fits into this theme where you're playing with Han's gun and you're playing with the stun blaster with Sabine. Darkseid does drain. There goes a Jedi Luke. Okay, we've got a Dengar showing up. He's going to get Imperial Barriered. Dengar cancels immunity to attrition. Barrier's going to get canceled. Ooh. Cancels opponent's immunity to attrition here. It also adds 1 to your total battle destiny for each of their ships. He did bring Crix up, so he did bring him up for some extra forfeit. Just in case. There's Forlom. He adds a battle destiny. So now, does he have another leadership? He does not. He'd have to pay 3 force for it, which he does not have available. 2 to stack it, plus 1 from first strike. There's a 3, there's a 4, that's 7. That'll cover Akbar's forfeit. And there's a 5, so Crix will be lost as well. 3, 4, 5. Lightside's going to play Mandalorian Mishap, the card we just talked about. During a battle, if opponent just drew more than 2 battle destiny, cancel one of those destiny draws. So, your choice. So, canceling the 5 would be great in this situation. Takes 5 power away and prevents somebody from other than Akbar from having to be lost. Actually, correction, prevents someone from other than Crix from being lost because he's forfeit plus 1 from Guts, because he's ability 3. Crix actually forfeits for 7. So this is actually going to be pretty great for that. This is a great card, by the way. Card that is not often utilized, but when it is, it has a lot of good functions to it. It gets you Sabine under attack or a blaster, cancels the extra destiny, or, cancel the game text of Jodo or any Fett for a remainder of turn. What's that? You're relying on a battle destiny because it's just Jango against Jedi Luke, and you're like, oh, I happen to have this Mandalorian Mishap. I'll cancel Jodo's game text. Now you don't get battle destiny. Doesn't even have to be out of sight. So, they're piloting a ship and you want to just take their extra power away. A lot of functionality. This is a good versatile interrupt that hits a number of key kind of targets that all fit within the theme pretty well. So Mandalorian Mishap to cancel the 5. Did he play it twice? Oh, Dengar still adds 1 to the total. Okay, so he cancels the 5. It looks like he played it twice, but it's unique, so that's weird. That's what's just throwing me off. Okay, Dengar does still add 1 to the total, so only Akbar will be lost in this situation, because he should still be forfeit 8, because he's got the plus 1 from Guts. And Lightside draws a 4, which will get rid of Forlom. Oh, looks like we're going for a revert. Hopefully it doesn't break. It did not. So we drew Destiny. Not sure why we backed up to this point where we're going to play out differently from here. I do want to thank you guys for sticking around. I know I'm running a little longer than I usually do tonight because, well, we talked about a lot of stuff in the beginning of the show, all the upcoming events, all the fun things that are going on. Did it let him play it twice? I don't know. Something weird the way it happened. He still loses Forlom. He still loses Akbar. Oh, then he's going to pop Wackling to retrieve Akbar. Hunter show deserves at least 100 minutes. Well, we're coming up on that, and here we go. That's a darn good point, Mr. Surson. All right, so now he's going to play the leadership from hand to get Akbar back out. Basically activated to where he is. He's going to play a rebel artillery to make his opponent lose a force because he's got a gun at a sight. Well, why not play some random 7s, right? He does get to drain for free because he occupies battle plan now. So that'll be a drain of 1. Here comes Akbar back. Now, does Akbar have any friends? There's a Jedi Luke. That's not a friend for Akbar, but it certainly could be a friend for Mara Jade. Paying 8 for Jedi Luke. Chris Kelly, what do you think about that? There's 2 5s. Mara's going to cut him in half. Both sides draw 4s, so no battle damage. Everybody's just going to clear. And once again, the audience chamber is empty. Now, I'd say you're at disadvantage because you just gave Joker King free access to where 554 is in his deck, but he only activates 10 force, and those are 17 cards down, so you don't have to worry too much about home 1 getting battled here and, 10 or 14 getting drawn for Battle Destiny and clearing a big chunk of stuff out. No, he's just going to shuffle it, though, and shuffle it around, and it was a big pile of red cards, so it may not make much of a difference. Oh, we're going ground. There's a Boba Fett bounty hunter. There is a Velkin Tazeri to a pit. Reese, I'm going to guess, is going to go down with Boba. Yep. So now you got enough ability plus bounty hunter to draw extra destinies. Watch out for that Mandalorian mishap, though, canceling Fett's game text. There's Darrow. No droid in the old reserve deck. Is going to try the hidden weapons on Solo, and it's going to get canceled by Hear Me Baby. Now Solo's going to shoot Reese. And there's just another Jedi Luke, because why not? Does he have any type of way to remove him from battle? He does not. Doesn't have the other Mandalorian mishap either. So, a couple of good Destiny draws here for Darkseid should clear a couple of characters. Han forfeits for 9, though, so that's a nice benefit. And that's a total of 11. Uta also goes for 3. Delavar here goes for 4. And Lightside draws a blind 7. So everybody's going to die for Darkseid. Lightside can keep 1 character. now that Han's gone, aim high is going to hit the table because Darkseid can retrieve again. And they will initiate battle and spend 2 force to retrieve finally. Getting back that Boba Fett and that Reese. Yet neither side is doing what you typically see them do. Court not holding the audience chamber at all. Light side hasn't even attempted to go to the bunker yet. These guys are just, you know, rock'em sock'em robots just slamming people into each other. Alright. A couple of lower destiny draws this time around for Joker King. He's only going to get to a total of 5. Guri's there, so that stops the second destiny draw. But Dengar is going to have to be lost here. So now Lightside will get its immunity back. It's not the best spot to be for Darkseid in space right now. Not really a great spot for either of them to be because they're both kind of sitting exposed a little bit. Hey, there's a big pile of 5 and higher destiny draws in there. They were all 5s and higher. The only character in there was Luke. Wicket. Whoa, Nelly. What does Wicket do? He's wicked good. That's what he does. He's wicked good. So Wicket, while in battle, target one opponent's character present. Draw destiny. They're excluded from the battle if their destiny is greater than their ability. Would have been helpful for the last couple of turns. With all those piles of 4s, 5s, and 6s, it's like I'll battle with Boba Fett, and you're like, I'll draw a 4 and exclude him from the battle. And it's like, and then it's just Reese by himself. Oh, this wasn't a good idea. Yeah. He's pretty good. So, just Wicket going to go out down there. And then we're going to get a battle in space. It's 12 to 11. Lightside obviously knows they're drawing at least a 5. That's going to get rid of more than Darrow. And they know that they're immune to less than 10. Darkseid unlikely to draw the 2 5s. They got shuffled, so who knows how it could have worked out. They get 5 total, so Lightside actually wins the battle. They lose nothing because they get to keep their immunity. There goes Guri. Now Darkseid's in a little bit of trouble in space. We're making a move into the bunker. So we got Wicket and we got Delavar inside the bunker now. And Dylan's going to draw a bunch of cards. The bunker is also an interior site, so you can do things like Blast the Door Kid to exclude people, which could come in handy as well if you're trying to exclude people above ability 2 and then kind of isolate somebody, because both of these guys are ability 2. Could kind of be used offensively. Okay, Probot's going to go try and attack the bunker. He's going to get barriered. No battle in space. No. Looks like we're just going to run away. They're both hyperspeed 5. They can make it from Endor to Nal Hutta. Now, because the objective here is on the 0 side, opponent loses no more than 1 force to each force drain at Endor locations. Keyword there being locations. It does affect the system. So this would be, if you have no rebels on Endor, force drain -1 here. He does have a rebel on Endor, so this would be a drain of 2. Plus launching the assault is here, so he has a Star Cruiser piloted by a character. He would add 1 to make this a drain of 3, but because the objective is on the 0 side still, that's capped at 1. And there is the aforementioned Senate Shield. While you have 12 or fewer cards in hand, opponent may not remove cards from your hand except with Grimtosh. He's going to activate 3 force. He's going to play throw me another charge. We did see a couple of lower destiny cards there. He's going to pay that 3 to Rebel Leadership to get General Leia, and then continue to activate. So just to drain a 1. You see in the GEMP chat here it says drains for 3 with force loss limited to 1. That's because of the restriction from the objective. There's General Leia going after Velkin over there at the pit. Now we've got Insurrection to boost some people's forfeit. A little late, but there's our charge. Interestingly enough here, Wicket, target excluded destiny greater than ability. Wicket basically auto-excludes any droid, right? Unless you draw a sight, which is not going to happen at this point in the game because it's in the bottom of his lost pile. So those guys would be no real threat. Leia does get to retrieve one when she battles Velkin here, and she gets to draw a destiny, which is a blind Jedi Luke. 10-2. Lose 8. There goes Velkin. There goes Gick number 2. And now you're in a situation where you're going to leave that nice 6 sitting on top in case you should need it for a battle destiny or something. Throws away another leadership from hand. Darkseid not activating a lot of force this game. Only the 1 docking bay. They didn't have a second docking bay. Didn't get the passenger deck out early. Ended up losing it when they drew it for Destiny. Now we got a force push. We got a P-59. And a Cad Bane. And a Zam Wessel. Nuclear Vessel. Gonna go beat up on Leia. 13-4. Leia does forfeit for 8, so basically it's 13-12. But you know, there's always, and we know they're drawing a 6 on top, right? Takes a shot at Leia, but misses. Had a decent chance. I think there was at least a 5 or 2 in there. We know Lightside's drawing a 6. That's going to get rid of Zam. Darkseid does draw one of the 5s, so that will be enough to get rid of Leia. But not going to cause any overflow. And now Joker King has completely run out of cards in his hand. Opts to lose Cad Bane instead. Alright. Makes opponent lose 2 force for losing a leader. Okay, there you go. Makes sense. Using Zam's extra text. Possibly split guys up. Yeah. Put somebody in the audience chamber, leave somebody at the pit. Zam only draws Destiny when she's alone. So you need to split them up. Yep. Makes sense to do it that way. Uh-oh. A Captain Utani. No cards left in hand. Could get some overflow here. So Utani does make forfeit 0. Defense value +1. This could hurt. Yep. There's a 6 for Weapon Destiny. So Probot is now hit and forfeit 0. And this should be that Jedi Luke again for Battle Destiny. So now we've got 12. Best Darkseid can do is draw a 5 here and get to 8, so they're still peeling 4 cards. Now they're peeling 6. With no cards in hand, light side opts to lose Wicket. And dark side's going to peel 6 here. There goes a Projective, a No Escape, a None Shall Pass, Ponda Baba, a Twi'lek, and the Boba Fett Bounty Hunter that he retrieved. So light side is going to spread back out because, again, dark side 0 cards in hand. Moves Yutani out to the adjacent site. Yutani can also shoot from that site, can't he? Target at same or adjacent site. So even if he were to go to the bunker magically with no cards, he could still, battle here and then shoot a guy from the adjacent site through the window. Dylan's going to set up a 5, at least for 1 destiny. And then he's going to lose 3 cards from hand. He won't have enough force left to retrieve 8, but he can still cause the force damage. Also the benefit of moving, not everybody dies when he blows up the bunker. Alright, so he force drains for 1 in the bunker. Important to drain there first before you blow it up. Get the extra force loss in. Now we're going to attempt to blow it away. So what did we need to do? Draw 2 destiny, add 3 for each charge. Total destiny has to be greater than 12. So he's got 1 charge there, so basically needs a 10 between the 2 destiny that he has. And if you track this around right, this is probably like 6-5. Oh. Well, we know the bottom card's the Mandalorian Mishap he put back. That's going to get him 9, 12. If he has a throw me another charge in hand, he can add 1 to his total. He does not, so he will miss. So now he will have to be content to just drain for 1 and 1. And Jedi Luke is going to go down and back him up in the bunker, in case Darkseid got any crazy ideas with that 1 card in their hand. This could be a game-winning bunker blow up at this point. The 8 force loss could be all the cards he's got left. So we get drains of 1s. Jabba's going to go after Yutani. And he will get to retrieve 2 force from Scum. Neither player with anything going on in their hand. Light side can still shoot Jabba. Okay. Well, now he knows he's got a 7 on the bottom. That may have actually helped him blow up the bunker. With Insurrection out, Yutani will certainly cover that. So both guys die. The site clears again. So now we're in a spot where the best case scenario for light side is they can activate 3, drain for 1 here, blow up the bunker, causing 8 force loss, and then spend that 3 force, because they won't occupy for battle plan anymore, to then drain at the system for 3. So what's that? 12 total force loss, and Joker King has exactly 12 cards left. Because we know the bottom card is a 7, so as long as the top card isn't a character, it's not. That's going to be a total of 14. Yeah, Battle with the Job unfortunately moved the card. We'll never know what this card would be. That would be the other one he would have drawn for Destiny. So the bunker gets blown up. Everybody in the bunker dies. Light side has to lose. I'm sorry, dark side has to lose 8 force from anywhere. And they will top deck, 8 remaining cards. That takes them down to 2. The bunker gets blown up. Those cards go to the lost pile. The objective flips. It would be 8 force retrieval, but that's not capable. Doesn't have the force to pay for it. Plus Coward is also out. And then he spends his 3 remaining force to drain for 3 and finish it out. And oh, it's only a drain of 2 now. Oh, it's only a drain of 2 because there's no longer any rebels on Endor. All these little game texts. Now he loses 1 here. Joker King drains 1, 1, and 1, taking him down to 1 force. So he will not have enough force left to pay to drain anywhere. And Joker King actually ends up winning by 1 instead of losing by 1 or 4. He would have needed 1 more force to shuttle Akbar down or something. No, actually, he would have needed the back door to move these guys to. If he has that and can relocate, then he wins by draining in both spots. Awesome game. Lots of great interactions. Lots of cards we don't ordinarily get to see, at least from the Rebel Strike team. The bunker did get blown up, but the court still managed to squeeze out the win by 1 because of, that no rebels left on Endor. So, thank you very much to Joker King for submitting the game link to review. That was fun. Definitely had a good time with that. Thank you all very much for sticking around and being part of the show tonight. Be sure to check out the PC Twitch channel all day tomorrow as Iron Man Dan will be playing a variety of games against all challengers. Dan, are you giving anything away during your challenge tomorrow? Are you going to give away some foil cards or some packs for everybody who plays a game against you? Tune in to find out. Okay, well, I guess you got to tune in to find out what Dan's giving away. And then he'll be back Wednesday night on Hollow Theater on Cinco de Mayo, also known as Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the Fifth. His guest would have been the person who won the NPC, but since Joe won and he'll be on a plane coming back from Mexico, that's going to have to wait a week. So we'll see who his guest is instead. Do you have the runner-up? Is that who you're interviewing? You can interview Jared about the NPC on Wednesday? And of course, we'll also be trying to give live coverage. The NPC Consolation Tournament, one thing I also didn't forget, I also didn't get a chance to mention, is also going on right now. The people who were eliminated in the early rounds, the first round of the NPC, are playing, and we've got some pairings for round 2. So all these guys are playing in round 2 to see who can move on in advance. So if you are one of these people and you are playing, you can go ahead and post your times here. We will try to get some coverage, just stream your game, just to give some more content for the community and give you guys a little camera time. Everybody loves a little camera time, right? I do know, I think Mike said his game, yeah, they're playing Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern after Hollow Theater airs. The game was scheduled for 9, but I think he realized, wait a minute, that's right during the middle of Hollow Theater, so let me move that back an hour so we don't interrupt Hollow Theater. So they're going to play right after Hollow Theater, and maybe we'll have somebody doing some coverage for that game. Dan doesn't know who his guest will be just yet. He's still working out the details. So you'll have to just tune in tomorrow to the old Iron Man Dan playing 12 games, well, 12 hours of Star Wars. Good luck, Dan. Over, under on will Dan swing and a miss. There we go. It's a hit or swing and a miss. What are we doing? Will Dan win more games than he loses tomorrow? don't know. I'm sure he'll have fun either way, though. But thank you guys very much for being here for episode number 100. We ran over our 100 minutes. And here's to the next 100. So you guys have a great night. I'll see you back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good one.